It's simple, but simple doesn't mean it can't be gorgeous. People go, oh, even his salads are lovely. He makes his own salad dressings. Definitely not something to eat before you're going to go see your cardiologist. We're going to serve this on toast. Except actually it's going to be fried bread. Just to, you know, take it to an even more artery clogging level of deliciousness. Ooh. Don't forget to splash everything up your back, splash, because, you know, you've got to test it out, make sure it's still working. Oh shit. Bloody hell. This is a sharp knife. That onion's got some skin on it. Blimey. Alright people, ever heard of mince on toast? That's what we're making. Mince as in minced beef. Mince on toast. So, mince on toast, it's like an old school poor food sort of thing. Not necessarily even on toast, just mince. Because it's all the scraps of meat that's left over and ground up and all that sort of stuff. I never used to have mince on toast as a kid. My nan did used to cook just like mince and potatoes and veg, or mince and mashed swede and veg and stuff like that. Kind of like a deconstructed shepherd's pie or cottage pie. But mince on toast has kind of now been taken on as like, it's been proper zhuzhed up and cooked like in a really super indulgent way. And there's a few places up London that sell it as, I think Quality Chop House has it on the brunch menu and maybe as a starter on the main menu. But it's sort of like beef mince cooked for ages in some like really indulgent beef stock and beef drippings and stuff like that. Served on toasted, technically fried sourdough. Quite simple, not a lot to go on. Takes a little bit of time. Nothing you can't get in a supermarket. One thing is you're supposed to use beef drippings to fry the bread and to fry everything in. Beef drippings aren't that easy to get anymore. And when you can find them, they come in like a block of, looks like a block of butter and it's beef drippings. You can get it in a jar as well, actually, to be fair. Problem is, we ain't going to need much of it, and it goes off, and I don't ever use beef drippings that often. Sometimes I've used it, like if I know I'm going to be cooking a roast dinner and I want to do proper Yorkshire puddings and stuff like that, but on the whole, it's not really worth buying. So if you want to go the whole hog, use the beef dripping instead of oil. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to fry stuff in the oil. A little bit of oil, because the beef's got a bit of fat in it, and I'm going to save the fat and then use that, and we'll work it out, Right, we'll get the bread out of the way for now. Not too much we need. Got a couple of sprigs of thyme, off the leaves pulled off the sprigs. If you need measurements, so that's like half a teaspoon maybe. And decent squirt of tomato paste, maybe again half a tablespoon maybe. Beef stock. I don't tend to make my own beef stock. I don't tend to have it around because it's a lot harder to make than chicken stock. You can buy fresh stock. You want to use the fresh stock for this because you need that unctuous gelatinousness of it, the stuff that's refrigerated. Got some port. Use some port. Any old port will do. Red wine, a nice heavy full-bodied red like a Cab or a Malbec. Oil, and we're going to make sort of like a mirepoix sort of thing. We have an onion and a carrot. We're going to blitz them up in a mini chopper. Use a food processor. Use a blender. If not, super chop it up fine. Super chop it up fine. What we're going to start is we're going to start browning off the mince when I start to get some other bits ready. So don't want to go super high. Just want a little drizzle of oil, not much. Making it in a saucepan. Well, this is my saucier pan, not a frying pan. So we want to get some good browning, but there's too much mince there. It's about half a kilo of mince. While that's doing it, I'm going to get the veg ready for the processor. So just a rough chop before you put it in your food processor of choice. It's not going to be particularly hard work, and we're just proper, kind of like a ragu. Want to proper blitz it down. We're not too worried about chunks here and there. We don't want a puree. We just want very super finely chopped. Essentially, we want all the bits of onion and carrot to be smaller than any of the bits of mince. Right, so we're going to start, now that oil's and the pan's a bit warm, we're going to brown off some of this mince. Once it's browned off, I'm going to put it in the colander above a bowl. Because like I said, I want to save some of those beef drippings, literally beef drippings. So I'm going to go over about half and then do half again in a minute. Not a super hot pan, but you do want to get some caramelisation. Right, might jump cut this because it's going to get a bit noisy, but I'm going to blitz these up and do the carrot. You also want to break this mince up. We don't want any big chunks, kind of like our ragu video. Same with the carrot as the onion and the carrots. Right, so the mirepoix. If you want to go really like to the nth degree, try and get yourself some like dry aged beef mince, or get some nice dry aged steak and get that and either grind it up yourself or get your butcher to grind it for you, because then that'll really take this to that super fancy next level. Don't be afraid to let it sit and stick a little bit on the bottom of the pan, because that's where you get some nice deep mahogany coloured crispy caramelised beef. It's not really caramelisation. There is some sugar in the beef there that will caramelise, but it's, for the most part, the Maillard reaction, which is slightly different. Get out as much of the beef as you can, but you don't want to be proper. You don't want to like sanitise the pan or anything. We're going to deglaze that a little bit with our onion, carrots and stock stuff in a minute. If you leave a bit of fat in there as well behind, that's fine. That's just something we can cook in. And we're going to go in with a tiny little bit more drizzle of oil, not too much. And we're going to go in with our carrots and onion. Much lower heat now. Medium, low. And we're also going to chuck in our thyme. And we just want to sweat this all down. You can scrape some bits of that beef off the bottom of the pan, do so. You might need to wait till we put the stock in though, just to help get it free. We just, like I said, sweating all this down. We're not looking to fry the bejesus out of it. So sweated all that down for about 5 or so minutes. We're going with our tomato paste. Much like that beef ragu we made, the tomato paste is there to balance sort of acidity and add maybe some colour and some umami. It's not going to make it tomatoey. There's not enough there to bring out a sense of tomato. We are also going to, at this stage, add pinch of salt and crack of the black pepper. And I'm just going to cook off that tomato paste. Right, cook the tomato paste off for a bit. Go in with all of our port. It's Marks and Spencer's Special Reserve Port. Only like 10 quid, I think it was. Very, very nice. So we're just going to go about 100 ml of that. And we just want to, if there's anything left stuck to the bottom of the pan, we can use this to deglaze it. And we're just going to cook the alcohol off of that for a few more minutes. I think you're starting to see how rich and indulgent this is going to end up being. Right, now that it's cooked off a bit, go back in with our beef mince. Not got much there, it's quite lean mince, but we'll be alright. That all stir up. Right, and our beef stock, we want 300 millilitres. And that's pretty much it. I'll put it on my lower heat strength burner. I'm just going to let it boil away for about maybe up to an hour. We just want to get all of that beef stock to reduce down. Scrape all your sides down. Make sure everything's stirred and incorporated. And we're just going to let that chooch for about half an hour, except it's not been half an hour, it's been about an hour, maybe an hour and a half. It had cooked down and reduced to the point where I needed it to. I was happy with it to this sort of state in about half an hour, but I got to make some phone calls and do some other bits. So, you cook it all down, give it a taste. You're probably going to need to give it a few pinches of salt just to season it properly and get it tasting a bit more balanced, but it should be super rich and super just luxurious beefiness. We're going to serve it on toast. So I've got myself here a nice not homemade because I haven't had time to bake my own bread this for a couple of days. Nice sourdough loaf. Now we're gonna serve this on toast. Except actually it's gonna be fried bread. So nice thick slab of sourdough bread. Like I said earlier, we should be frying this off in beef drippings, but we haven't really got much in the way of beef drippings from our fat. If you want to go get yourself some beef drippings, fine. If maybe you use beef drippings for cooking, I don't use it a lot. So what we're going to do is try and not simulate, but get a similar sort of thing. We're going to use a bit of butter and a bit of oil. So beef drippings, much like lard and things like that. So we're just going to heat up a bit of olive oil. Any oil will do. And a bit of butter and whatever beef drippings I've got, if you're doing it this way. If you use really fatty mince, you might have a load of beef drippings left over, especially if you ground like aged brisket down and you did it proper next level. Got the oil, the butter's foaming. I'm just gonna get in over bread. Don't want to go too high. You want to get a nice even golden brownness on there before it starts to char. What I'm also going to do, this is completely optional, is just to add a little semblance of health to the dish. I'm going to serve it with a little side salad. We're going to get a little, this is completely optional, bit of mustard, a little bit of vinegar, tiny little bit of mustard, maybe about the same in vinegar. Just make a simple little salad dressing. Just a little olive oil. Give that a little taste. That's good. It's a very simple little mustard vinaigrette. Just going to give it a little pinch of salt. Find a little pinch of salt. And pepper. Just dress that salad when we're done with it. Just going to check on our bread, toast, whatever you want to call it at this point. Starting to crisp up, but we're not quite there yet. A little swirl around in the pan, make sure it's got a little bit of butter and a bit of oil in there. Starting to get a bit golden now. You want a nice, rich golden. Don't be shy, but keep an eye on it. You don't want it burnt, obviously. Flip the other side. And we construct bread. I'm going to go on our toast with a nice, don't need loads of this, it is very rich as it is, and then we're just going to, I might do a video on salad dressings because they are quite easy, but people can be a bit scared of them, but they are also one of those sort of things that can just really take your cooking up another level. People go, oh, even his salads are lovely. He makes his own salad dressings. And just on top, as much for garnish as anything else, but the acidity can help because this is very rich. The acidity can help just to cut through that. Some of my pickled red onions. Plus they just taste nice, you know. And there we go. Beef mince on toast, but done posh and fancy, and like that's going to close your arteries up as soon as you even look at it. But as a treat, nothing wrong with treating yourself every now and again. Like I said, a lot of places in London now, fancy places, do it as like a brunch, lunch. It's on their brunch menu, or it's on their main menu as a starter. Probably a little smaller of a portion than this. It's simple, but simple doesn't mean it can't be gorgeous. It is a bit ostentatious. It is very rich. It's very fatty. As a treat, if you've got some really nice beef that you want to use up, like I said, if you don't mind grinding your own beef, or you can get your butcher to grind your beef, get some really nice dry aged ribeye, grind that up, make it with that, and it's just beautiful. But yeah, you know, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next time I see you, I guess. In a while, crocodile. Adios.